This is a CNN Philippine special presentation. I'm Pia Hontiveros, a one-on-one with the newly installed Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces, Lieutenant General, soon to be General Jose Boy Faustino. General Faustino, thank you very much for granting us this interview. Sir, you are the 10th Chief of Staff appointed by President Duterte, the most for any Commander-in-Chief, it seems. At ang dami kasing nakapansin na parang ang iikli ng mga tenure ninyo lahat. And let me very briefly go through the list. Ricardo Visaya was Chief of Staff for only 5 months. Eduardo Año, 10 months. Ray Guerrero, 6 months. Cardito Galvez, 8 months. Benjamin Madrigal, 8 months. Clement, 3 months. Santos, 7 months. Gilbert Gapay, 6 months. Sobejana, 5 months. Tas kayo po, mga 4 months. The question, sir, is that why is it this way?
I think we have to respect the prerogative of our Commander-in-Chief when it comes to designating the Chief of Staff. Yes, that's right. I am the 10th Chief of Staff under our President, our Commander-in-Chief right now. And the AFP has systems in place that whoever replaces, even if for a short period of time, you know, ang ano dito, Pia, is kahit na mabilis ang palitan with the institutionalized systems na na-establish na ng Armed Forces of the Philippines, based kasi sa institution yung mission namin, not on the person. Mm-hmm. So, we have a roadmap to follow. And it works so far, based dun sa mga nabanggit mo ng mga commanders na nauna sa akin, mga Chief of Staff na nauna sa akin. And for me to continue on with this. Yes, having said that, I think I agree that there should be a fixed term for the Chief of Staff.
Okay, fixed term, like how long? A year and a half?
No, it depends on. I think there is a move right now in Congress to have a fixed term for the Chief of Staff and something to do with the retirement age ng ating mga officers, because you know, we are now, I should say, limited by that provisions in the law that all of us will retire by the age of 56.
56, right.
So that's why, kung makikita mo, pag nag-abot-abot yung mga seniority ng mga classes, medyo nagkakaproblema dahil nga maiiksi na lang yung natitira. And because of seniority, yun na rin, you have to give way with the seniors and qualified also and capable.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you're saying, sir, that itong revolving door policy does not, at the moment, affect the organization, the institution, but it would be a good idea to have a Chief of Staff in a longer tenure.
Yes. Yun yung limitations kasi ng law na we really we have to retire at 56. That's why, ang nangyayari, pag nag-abot-abot, for example, sa akin, ang natitira is like a little over 3 months. But nevertheless, if you will look at the performance of our mission or yung accomplishments na nagawa ng Armed Forces of the Philippines with all those short-term Chief of Staffs na sinundan ko, maganda yung resulta. Because sinabi ko nga, meron ng sistema na naka-in place na roadmap na kami sinusunod.
That's true. And I guess who are you to complain? No? Alam nga namang tanggihan pa yan. Siyempre, tatanggapin nyo yan. General Faustino, we are taking this interview. Let's move on. We're taking this interview August 3rd, and this airs August 4th. And August 4 will be exactly 1 month since the C-130 crash in Sulu. When will we know what happened, and what exactly do we know so far?
I just talked with the Commanding General of the Philippine Air Force yesterday, General Aren Paredes, and he didn't give an exact timeline, but he said that they will be releasing the investigation soon of what happened to C-130. The C-130 crash really is a tragedy not only to the Philippine Air Force but to the whole Armed Forces of the Philippines. And these incidents can be avoided. We try to look more on the training side, the maintenance and all. And rest assured, Pia, sa ating mga kababayan, na once na lumabas yung investigation, ito ay agad naming ipapaso publiko. Ang right now, the updates according to the Commanding General of the Philippine Army, General Andy Centino, we still have 15 na unidentified. We know the people kung sino yung mga namatay, but of course we have to check based on DNA na sila talaga yung mga parang pag binigay namin to sa kanilang mga mahal sa buhay, sigurado tayo na sila. So ang sabi sa akin ni CGPA, it may take a week or two bago natin ma-finalize pa yung hindi pa na-identify na 15 na katao.
General Faustino, when you say releasing soon, it is the first week of August. Are we talking about this first week of August or next week, second week of August?
No definite date, but as soon as ma-release ng Air Force ito, Pia, I can guarantee na publiko natin ito.
Oo. And I'm sure kayo lahat sa Armed Forces, nakita nyo naman po yung public reaction. No? Ang daming, hindi lang nalungkot pero ang daming nagalit because, for the simple reason, pang-apat na crash na ito in the span of 6 months. And then yung mga nag-crash lahat, mga eroplano or choppers, that, hindi ba, siyempre, ang unang naisip ng tao, hindi ba bahagi yan ng AFP modernization? And isn't the Air Force supposed to be our first line of defense? And then you have this happening.
Yes, Pia. We're striving to, right now, yung modernization ng Armed Forces of the Philippines, kami ngayon ay nasa Horizon 2 ng AFP revised AFP modernization plan. Medyo nagka-problema tayo sa deliveries, but nevertheless, dumating yung mga game changers na sinasabi natin. Like sa Navy, we have now the frigates, the corvettes, the fast boats. Sa Army, you have the all-terrain vehicles and the move, shoot, and sea capability ng Philippine Army. When I say move, shoot, and capability, we're talking about light tanks and intelligence gadgets and all. That's right. Medyo, I will not speak kung ano talaga yung naging problema because I'm just waiting for the investigation. Mahirap pangunahan kung anong kalalabasan ng investigation, Pia. Then I think paglabas ng investigation, then that's the time na makorek namin kung ano mang proseso, safety, maintenance, training, whatever it is.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's interesting also, General, to hear you talk about the AFP modernization program. There is a really concise progress report in less than a minute and a half. But tell us, sir, why is it so important for us to modernize?
Yes, Pia. The process may be slow, but unti-unti. Nararating natin yung sinatawag natin na credible defense. Hindi naman tayo nag-arm ng ating sarili para makipagyera. Right. Ang sa atin is maprotektahan ng ating sovereign rights, ang ating sovereignty, ang ating teritoryo. At of course, yung mga threats mga complex threats na kinakaharap ng ating bansa sa ngayon. We have, of course, the internal security threats and the external threats na ating kinakaharap. Right now, masasabi siguro, Pia, medyo napakalayo na ng narating ng ating modernization. Kami na nandito sa loob ng organisasyon ay very proud that we're seeing right now these things that we didn't have before.
So, General, you're saying our goal is land domination, sea domination, air domination, territorial defense. But when you say territorial defense, against who?
Anybody that will threaten us. We will not single out any country. Alam naman natin siguro kung ano yung threats na kinakaharap ng ating bansa sa ngayon. But whatever kind of threat, be it terrorism, be it external aggression, that's what we're preparing for.
Mm-hmm. So those who seek to trample upon our sacred shores or any island for that matter. General Faustino, we're going to have to take a very quick break. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Our guest in this CNN Philippine special presentation is Lieutenant General Boy Faustino. He is the newly installed Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. General Faustino, we are modernizing so that the AFP can move away from yung tinatawag ninyong internal security operations, ISO, dun sa mga those threats, unconventional threats, right? And so that you can concentrate, like you said earlier, on territorial defense. But that presupposes that the communist insurgency, for example, has been defeated, and that we have dealt with all these what we call unconventional threats. So what is the status now?
All right, Pia. We have two main threats right now that we are facing. The communist terrorist groups and the local terrorist groups. When it comes to the communist terrorist groups, we have gained a lot, particularly when we established yung National Task Force to end the local communist armed conflict. Ito yung nagpatunay na yung pagsama-samang pagkilos ng mga mamamayan ng whole of nation approach, ika nga, the local government agencies, the local chief executives, the line agencies, it worked. I myself have seen this when I was division commander in the Davao region. Right now, Davao region, within the year, I am expecting that it will be declared insurgency free. For my last check, ang NPAs ay nag-number na lang ito ng mga around 3,000 to 3,200. When we graduated in 1988, nasa peak siya ng around 25,000 armed regulars. And we only have a few remaining guerrilla fronts. And during the conference yesterday, it was my instruction to finish this remaining guerrilla fronts and itong armed group, or itong armado na naiiwan NPA within the year. Right now, Pia, probably ang masasabi ko dito nung araw, ang mga rebelde sa amin sumusurrender. This time it's different. Almost 70 to 80% per my experience in Eastern Mindanao Command Area. Almost 70 to 80% nagsusurrender sa local government. Meaning na ibalik ang tiwala ng ating mga mamamayan, lalo na yung mga indigenous people sa gobyerno. Na-feel nila ngayon ang gobyerno because of the whole of nation approach. Pagdating naman sa local terrorist groups like the Abu Sayyaf and the BIFF, my last assignment at Joint Task Force Mindanao, kahit na napakaiksing panahon, na almost 2 buwan lang yon, I learned a lot on the situation. Kahit na matagal ako naka-assign sa Mindanao, nag-straddle ako from east to west, nakita ko na it is now in a manageable level na within the year, with the peace process or the peace initiatives we have with the MNLF, with the MILF, and the advance clearing being done by the troops of the Western Mindanao Command in the islands of Basilan, Silu. It's just a matter of time, and I'm very positive that within the term of President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, we will be able to transition little by little to territorial defense. The modernization program really, Pia, the first one, was more on ISO, to address the ISO. Ito ngayon, yung ginagawa natin sa modernization, makikita mo heavy ang ating pagbili ng mga kagamitan concentrated na on territorial defense like mga barko, eroplano, and mga helicopters. So I think habang tinatapos natin yung ISO, unti-unti na tayo nagta-transition sa territorial defense.
So what you're saying, General, is that this is not exactly mission impossible in terms of dealing with the communist insurgency threat, local terror threat, because you're saying, within the term, before President Duterte steps down, makontain na ang Abu Sayyaf, other terror groups, the communist insurgency, you're saying, the few remaining guerrilla fronts, gusto niyong mapabuwag na yan. But I can hear, right now, after you talked about the NTF-LCAC, I can hear the critics of President Duterte who are very, very vocal about and against this NTF-LCAC. And very briefly, can you address that lang?
Yeah. I think one of the issues that they try to raise is when NTF-LCAC raised that barangay development funds, yung funds to support the barangay development program. Ito ay sa DILG, diretso, or sa DILG pababa sa ating mga barangays. Ito ay patunay na talagang nasasaktan natin ang organisasyon ng mga CPP, NDF, ng communist terrorist groups. They will do anything to stop NTF-LCAC. Yun ang nakikita kong dahilan bakit galit na galit sila sa National Task Force.
General, let's talk about China and the West Philippine Sea. What we civilians see are Coast Guard and BFAR, Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources ships, facing down or challenging these Chinese ships. Yung tinatawag na white ships asserting Philippine sovereignty. Tell us why we cannot have our Navy ships, those gray ships, do that for us.
Yes, Pia, the challenge really is how to protect yung ating sovereignty without really going to war. We have to implement appropriate actions na lalong-lalo na dito sa West Philippine Sea because right now tama ang ginagawa ng National Task Force on West Philippine Sea, that it is a law enforcement issue. Right. That's why you have the Coast Guard, you have the PNP, you have BFAR, and ang nagagawa ng armed forces is to, of course, more than the visibility patrols that we do, we support itong ating mga law enforcement agencies with the proper doctrine when it comes to maritime. And we also have, of course, we also maintain stations dito sa mga areas na ito, and that could be refueling stations maybe, or kung saan, gaano man kaliit itong mga islands na to, it is ours. Yun yung gusto nating i-emphasize. That's why we maintain and we support yung efforts ng National Task Force on the West Philippine Sea.
General, we have a renewed and reinvigorated U.S. Philippine alliance now that the VFA very clearly has announced will not be scrapped. How does this impact on the armed forces and your work?
Well, we have had a very good relationship bilateral relationship with the United States even before. And I consider it as a small bump yung nangyari na nagkaroon ng issue about the VFA, but ngayon na-retract na siya. And that's good because matutuloy na rin yung mga lalo nating mapapaigting yung ating the normal trainings that we do with them, bilateral agreements, and yung mga, remember that we have the biggest military exercise with the U.S. Ito nga yung Balikatan.
Right. And
all the other things like yung exchange students program, tuloy-tuloy ito, Pia.
We talked about the ISO earlier, and much of your career and that of the many other generals from the time, like you said earlier, from the time you were second lieutenants until now, was fighting communist insurgents, fighting the terrorists in Mindanao. How did that all prepare you for today's role and position as Chief of Staff?
Oh, well, it really contributed a lot, Pia. Most of my time, my commandership positions were in Mindanao. My commandership was from battalion commander up to the area commander and up to Joint Task Force Mindanao. And with that assignments, I've seen the need to really bring peace dito sa island ng Mindanao. It's an understatement to say that I love Mindanao. Talagang dito ko nakita yung nahasa yung commandership ko, yung leadership skills ko. I've been to the most dangerous areas in Mindanao, been assigned there for years. And nakita ko rin yung pangangailangan ng mga tao doon, kung sinisigaw nila na kapayapaan. And that motivated me, Pia, to really uh, to really exert more effort, lalo na ngayon na ako na yung nandito as Chief of Staff, na naiintindihan ko yung problema doon sa bandang yon ng Pilipinas, sa area ng Pilipinas.
General Faustino, one last quick break before this final stretch of the program. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to this final and lighter segment of this one-on-one interview with the newly installed AFP Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General Boy Faustino. General Faustino, you belong to the Maringal class of 1988, PMA, the first CS from the class, first Chief of Staff. Also the first, I'm told, Army Battalion Commander, the first Brigade Commander, the first Division Commander. But the road is not always smooth. We all have our ups and downs, our highs and lows. So what would you say was the lowest moment in your career that helped you become or evolve into an even better version of yourself?
Pia, I think the lowest moment in my career was the time when I was a brigade commander and a battalion commander, when I lost lives, yung buhay ng ating mga sundalo. Kung napalapit ka sa yung mga sundalo, sometimes mahirap mahirap i-distinguish yung mission sa moral ng tao. Minsan namamatayan tayo ng mga sundalo natin. Ito na yung pinakamasakit para sa aming mga commanders. And this shaped me, and this developed me to become a better planner, to become tough, and really improve yung kabuuan ko bilang isang tao. Masakit, pero sa pag-perform ng aming mga mission, ng aming mga trabaho, hindi mo talaga maiwasan na minsan na dumating yung mga bagay na ganyan, pero you really have to take it in stride and perfect and develop yourself.
It's interesting, General, to hear you say that, because I thought for a while you would say that the time you were removed as Army Commanding General because of a mistake by other people, no? Pero hindi, no? That wasn't it.
Yeah, Pia, that episode, yung pagkakaalis ko bilang Commanding General ng Philippine Army. I rolled with the punches. Hindi ako nagreklamo. They didn't hear anything from me. I just performed my next assignment as the Joint Task Force Mindanao, moved on, and I have a mission to perform. We have to be professional about it.
Right. A good soldier always follows orders. And a good soldier also goes on schooling. Like, nag-schooling daw kayo sa South Korea. So, you can speak a little Korean daw.
Yes, annyeonghaseyo.
And your favorite Korean novela is?
Crash Landing on You.
Okay, sige. General, ito na, last few questions. The lighter side. Ruling class na ba ang tawag sa Class 88?
Yeah, you could say that.
Sa wakas din.
Yeah, I'm so proud to the achievement ng PMA Class 88. Not only here sa Armed Forces of the Philippines, but also the Philippine National Police. And got to show na talagang malaki ang nagawa ng edukasyon namin na nakuha sa PMA.
And PMA, your mistas say that they called you and still call you Kuya Boy. Mid-80s, uso yung mga kuya at ate, no? Bakit ba Kuya Boy?
Yeah, really funny because even those mistas or classmates that retired earlier or older than me, they call me Kuya. Well, maybe because I'm always there for them. I give advice, personal man yan, career man yan. Lahat tinutulungan ko hanggat kaya ko.
Okay, General, my last question. What do you want to do for the AFP that your predecessors have not yet done?
During my assumption speech, I mentioned about creating a center for countering violent extremism. It's a thing I learned from when I was assigned at Joint Task Force Mindanao. Ang nakita ko dito, we are addressing the problems now with the separatist groups, the MLF, the MNLF, and now we're addressing the Abu Sayyaf and the BIFF. But even if we finish all this, the threat of violent extremism will always persist. So we have to be prepared and study really what we can do to prevent this. And that's in the works right now. And even for a very short period of time that I have, I just want to plant a seed. I hope that it will grow and come and develop into a center.
Kahit yung future generations na ang
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry to swing from a very serious matter to a light matter, pero nakalimutan ko na pag-usapan yung Korean novela. You like to sing pala, no?
Yes, when we were cadets, I was a member of the band.
Okay.
PNA.
But you have a nice voice daw.
Oh no, maybe in our batch, but there are a lot of aspiring singers in our batch.
Okay, and your message, sir, for the men and women of the armed forces and people.
Well, thank you, Pia. I would like to reiterate my call on to every soldier, airman, our sailors and marines to magsilbi ng tapat, magsilbi na galing sa puso. We should prioritize our patriotism and sa ating mga kababayan, nandito po ang inyong Armed Forces of the Philippines, nakahandang tumulong ng buong puso pag-utusan po ninyo. Maraming salamat, Pia.
General Boy Faustino, thank you very much for this interview and our snappy salute, sir.
Thank you very much.
And this has been a CNN Philippines special presentation. I'm Pia Hontiveros. Thank you for joining us.